Hey girl, hey, and welcome to OMG Scrunchie Club. I am the scrunchie creator, Lamiel, and today I am excited that I am going to be making some camo scrunchies. So recently I did a fabric haul. Hopefully the video will go up soon. And I came across this camo denim fabric here. So I bought a yard of it just to test it out. And I am going to make the OMG XXL, which is the large scrunchie, as well as an OMG mini scrunchie from this fabric. So I am going to take you through my process of sewing and of course adding tags to my scrunchies. So I am going to go ahead and get the fabric cut, and then I will see you once the fabric is cut, and you can watch me with my sewing process of how I attach everything and put the tags on. I will do my best to give details as I go along as to what I am doing. Okay, so now I have my fabric cut. I have my fabric cut for my OMG XXL scrunchie or large scrunchie here. I have the fabric folded in half, and I have the print sides together. And I also cut the strip for my OMG mini scrunchie also. And I did the same. I have the print sides together, so the wrong facing side of the fabric, or the back side, is on the outside. So the first thing I am going to do is sew my tag along the short side of my scrunchie. And I am going to angle the camera right now so that you can see this process being done. Okay, so now we're ready to sew. I will move my sewing machine out of the way. Excuse the mess behind me. Still getting my office organized. So now we're ready to sew the casing for our scrunchie. So I'm going to start with the mini scrunchie first. So what I like to do is I like to line my edges up, and I will get ready to place it on the sewing machine here. So I'm using a Singer simple sewing machine that I picked up from Walmart for maybe like $120, so it's nothing fancy. And whenever I sew my scrunchies, I like to use white thread first. So I'll sew the casing first with white thread, and when I close it up, I will select a color that is in the print of the fabric if it's not a solid piece of fabric. But I will show you that process as well as we go along. So I'm going to pull my sewing machine right here in front of me. Hopefully my camera is getting a good view of what I am doing. I am trying to record, sew, and do all of this by myself. So I have no behind the scenes production team with me at the moment. It is just plain old me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm lining my fabric up first, and then I'm going to stick it under the foot of the sewing machine. So I try to backstitch at least 2 to 3 times. Sometimes I get excited and maybe do 4, but I like to backstitch just to make sure that everything is held tight together right here where it connects. So I'm just going to sew down a little bit. So I sew down a little. I'm going to make sure my needle is inserted into my fabric. I'm going to lift my foot up on my sewing machine and take my tag. And now I'm going to insert my tag right here in this opening. Once I have it positioned, I'll bring it down just a little. I'll bring my foot down. And then I position my tag where I want it to go. And then I like to backstitch over my tag also, just to make sure it's securely in. So I backstitch over my tag just to make sure that it's secure. And then I'll finish this end off. Backstitch, lift the foot, cut off the thread, and there is my tag right there in between the fabric. So for my scrunchie casing, I like to do the tube casing. I'm not sure what the name of this particular way to sew the scrunchies is called, but after I sew my tag in, I go and lay my fabric flat, and then I make a tube, a sausage tube or a tube, and I like to line this seam up. Most people, when I see them do it, they will have this seam facing them and then tuck this part and sew this section first. But I do it the opposite way. There's no right or wrong way to do this. The whole objective is to get your casing closed so that you can feed the elastic through. So here we go. I fold it. I line those seams up as best as I can. Sometimes they're not perfectly lined when I sew. And now I'm going to pull the machine back towards me. And I am getting ready to sew. So I have to lift my needle up. And make sure everything's lined up, and we can start sewing right now. So I still do the back stitch 2 to 3 times as well right here. Stitch over that also. And I just stick my hand through there. This is an easy way. It keeps me from having to use a tube or having to use my bodkin or some other tool to pull the fabric out when doing the tube casing. But I call this casing, I don't have a name for it, but I find this one to be very easy to use to do. So now that I have an opening, I'm going to pull the fabric through. Now I have a hole right here for my elastic. So I'm going to do the OMG XXL scrunchie right now. I will do the same steps that I did with the mini. And let's get started. Now that I have the elastic in both of the scrunchies, I am ready to sew them. I have switched out the spool to black as well as the bobbin thread, And so I'm just going to stick this under the foot and stitch it. So I do a few back stitches on this as well, just to make sure that it's stuck together, and I'll stick it in there. Now I will do the same for my small scrunchie as well. And now I'm going to close the casing right here. Here is the XXL. So now I like to fluff and stretch, move the elastic around on the inside of the scrunchies. So here is the mini. Here is the XXL, so you can see the two side by